but
it's been a lot of fun, man.
it has been fun.
And I
hasn't it?
think there's a couple guys on the team who wish they had something like this.
Yeah, absolutely.
And even like Chase and Connor's podcast is kind of cool, but
I haven't even listened to it.
it's
I haven't
not.
even bothered.
It's
I ain't even bothered.
it's not like this one.
I don't even listen to people's podcasts.
Yeah.
Honestly. I just like this one.
The honest, this one's pretty sick.
Yeah. All right, Kev.
Right, I'll count you in.
How's my hat look? Does it look all squished up?
There you go.
Does it look fine
That
now?
looks better now.
Yeah, yeah,
Alright,
good.
Cool.
All right. Streaming in 3, 2, 1. You're live.
Camera's good? All right. What's going on, everybody? It's your host, Isaiah Bagnah of the Realist podcast, man. First things first, shout out Chubby's and Orm. I actually just came from there. Before this, got me a little Bagnah burger. Make sure y'all go tap in, try one if you haven't. And if you have, you ain't got to play around. You ain't got to kid yourself, man. Go ahead and get another one. I know you want to. You know what I'm saying? But, shout out Chubby's Orm, man. Appreciate them supporting us and getting this episode on the road, man. Just got back from San Antonio yesterday. And you see the hat. You see the hat, man. Champs. It's crazy. It was a fun game. It was a cool weekend, man. Honestly, they did a really good job of how they organized the bowl game, that whole week being there and stuff like that. It was a really cool experience, and I've only been to one other bowl game. It was the Vegas Bowl, my freshman year, and that was cool too. They actually did a really good job as well. And so, honestly, from a lot of other bowl games I've heard of, especially one that BYU was at before I got here and stuff like that, I was kind of like, oh man, I must have gotten really lucky with like the Vegas Bowl because that was a sick experience.
Yeah.
But this one for sure surpassed it. This one was awesome for me. And I mean, obviously too, like my freshman year, I'm not really playing, you know what I'm saying? So have different mentality being there, but no, this one was cool, man. This was a fun game to be a part of. Played in the Alamo Dome. Is that what they call it?
Yeah.
Something like that, yeah. And that was cool too. They had like 65K people there, I believe. So it was a good turnout. It was surprising how many Colorado fans were there.
Yeah.
Actually. And they were considered the home team, but regardless though, it was in a separate location, but yeah, dude, it's crazy. Like there's one section, there's still a good amount of BYU fans, but it was just one section of BYU fans, and then the rest of it was just you just see Colorado fans everywhere.
You say like 60-40, 70-30? You just had a guess. I mean,
honestly, I want to say 70-30
for Colorado.
Yeah, for Colorado.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy, man. But it was exciting, dude. It was cool to have that support down there too, and from the jump. Yeah, that was a fun game. A lot of the events were fun, but the game specifically was awesome.
Yeah.
Truthfully, like I expected to go in there and win. I believe I know my whole team did. All of us did, right? But I didn't expect it to go the way that it did.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest. Like, that was some belt to bottom.
Belt to bottom, baby.
Belt to bottom, man. That's what we're going to call it.
Yeah.
Hey. But, man,
I think they were a little surprised.
Absolutely.
From just watching the body language. You were on the field, so Yeah. But being at home, watching on the TV, I think there's some Colorado players and staff who were like, oh, no. Like, they were surprised, and it was kind of cool to see that.
Yeah, well, I mean, you go against the best pass efficiency team in, the nation, and all you depend on really is your pass game. You can't. It's hard.
Yeah, they had one of the worst rushing
against.
teams in college football, right, Kevin?
It was the worst.
Oh, the absolute worst.
It was the worst.
Yeah.
I remember at halftime, I think it was like, minus 9 yards rushing?
There was one time where they pulled it up on the broadcast where I think BYU had rushed for 100-ish, right around 100, and they were minus 18.
Yeah.
Because they had just taken some sacks,
Yeah, well, that does.
Yeah, but still. But you got to have positive runs to make up for that, too. So.
Right? So, Yeah, dude, it was crazy, man. Honestly, a lot of it did go, how we expected it to. But yeah, it was still cool, man. It was good to go against that talent. They got some good players on that team. That the Heisman winner,
Yeah.
he made a good play. He had two good plays, I think, that game. But truthfully, on defense, all phases of the game, I feel like it was just a testament to our team as a whole.
Yeah.
Just defense wise was shut down. Offense, we ran the ball down their throats and, scored the ball.
What was our final rushing number? Was over one. Was
I
close
don't
to
even
180, something like that.
man,
180
something
on the
like that.
nose.
On the nose,
Oh,
180
wow.
on the
Yep.
nose.
Colorado
not bad.
was 36 rush yards if you are not including sacks.
Wow,
Wow.
that's crazy, dude.
That is
Two,
crazy. isn't
two
it?
rush yards if you are including sacks.
2 rush yards if you factor in the sacks.
Wow.
I don't care. I mean, you play in the SEC, you could play in the Sun Belt. It doesn't matter what team. One team lines up, rushes for 180 yards. And the other team rushes for 2 or 30.
Yeah.
Pick your number.
Whatever.
It is, the score of that game is lopsided.
Absolutely.
Unless
For
you're
sure.
playing a Mike Leach passing team or
Mhm.
something like that. But
And the thing is, typically it comes down to like it's really cool to see the stats of every game. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes you can base, okay, well, it makes sense why this game went the way it did based off like the turnover ratio,
right.
right? Or average starting field position, all those type of things, right? The typical, reasonings for the outcomes of these games, right? But when it's like some things that are kind of like catches you off guard, like, wait, two rushing yards?
Yeah.
Or like 30, whatever, 33, 36 rushing yards compared to 180. Okay. I mean, that's just odd. You don't see that often,
No,
right? You
no.
really don't. And so, Kev, do you remember what the passing yards was?
Yeah, what was their passing?
208.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not terrible.
16 of 23, 208 yards. Honestly, 23 pass attempts. Like, you just hold Shitter Sanders to that low pass attempts. You're getting off the field when you're supposed to.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
you're getting a lot of 3 and outs.
Absolutely.
It's interesting. I wonder, we won't make Kevin go too analytical here, but I wonder how many of those passing yards came in the last few drives of the game, too.
Oh.
Because we
They
started
had one passing. They had one play. There was a pass. I think it was just like, what was it, a screen or something like that, like a quick out.
Mhm.
And they got some good yards on it. I was like, man, this dude's running up the sideline, breaking tackles and everything like that. Regardless of who was in, you know what I'm saying, what depth we had in there, still, it was kind of just like disappointing. Kind of like, man, we could have held them to even less. You
Could
know
have kept
what
him
I'm
to
saying?
7, man. I really think you could have.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I mean, some just I never want to sit here and blame things on the refs or nothing like that. And one call just didn't go our way with Glasker's face mask,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then after literally the next play, I believe he throws a bomb to Travis Hunter and then he scores a touchdown.
Yeah.
Right. But if you don't get that call, who knows if he gets the opportunity to get that touchdown?
Then it maybe stays at
In
0.
fact, I'm pretty sure that was like
Third and long.
it was a third and long,
Mhm.
right? And so, but hey, man, it's regardless. We still did what we were supposed to. And what I was trying to say too for our team, man, like special teams, we went out there. Parker Kingston got his punt return. That was awesome to see.
Which Parker, dude, we all know Parker
First
can
of all.
shake it and bake it.
Well, yeah,
The blocking
that's
on
what I'm saying.
that was
He didn't get
on
close to being
point.
touched.
That's right.
He didn't get close to being touched, man. And then the kick, what was it?
onside.
The onside kick. That was sick too, man.
Yeah.
So it was just a good game, just a good performance by, the whole team, and it was a wonderful way to just end out the season.
Yeah.
You know,
Dude, I have told you, not on the podcast, but like off camera, right, whatever, that I was a little concerned with next season. Like, not that we're going to be bad. I don't think we're going to be bad. I think
it's
we're
gonna be different.
It's going to be different.
Mm-hmm.
And I was worried like we lose 5 old linemen that have a ton of experience, a ton of starts, no football. We're going to lose 3 or so old linemen. Well, now, like, we've added some guys from the portal. K-Pop is sticking around. Jay Hill's sticking around. A-Rod's sticking around. I'm kind of getting optimistic for next season. Like, not that I ever thought it was going to be bad, but now I'm like a lot more hopeful than before. I don't know if you've noticed like these guys coming in, but there's some good guys coming in.
No, I've seen some transfers and signees, man. it's some good pickups for these guys, honestly, and some spots like you said where they need it.
They need
know?
experience, and not just talent. Like that's great. We have a lot of young talent.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. But experience is where I get concerned. Like, oh, we lose all this experience and leadership.
Mm-hmm.
We lose a lot of leadership. But dude, Gentry coming in, that guy's got a lot of leadership and he's got a lot of experience. Right? He won a national championship 2 years ago. Tanuvasa has a bunch of starts.
Yep.
Right? Like he's got a ton of experience. Like I'm not saying it's gonna be as good or the same, but I'm just hopeful it's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a fun team to watch. I don't know.
Yeah. And that's the guy from Utah, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he was good.
He's good, dude.
He's good. Because I seen that today on Instagram. I was like, oh, that's a good pickup for these guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, I know the interior guys that we have right now are, dogs too, but it's just a great addition to have.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, no, I wouldn't honestly be too worried about next year. Of course, it's going to be different, and like that whole aspect of, adapting and adjusting to the culture and, seeing just how that aspect plays a role in it. That'll be interesting to see, but still, that talent and that leadership is big time.
It is.
And it's going to help a lot because you got a lot of young guys. You got a lot of young guys with talent and who have a great, bright futures. But still, you know what I'm saying? Like, especially, I just look at my position room specifically, too. You know what I'm saying? Like, me, at least Logan's staying,
Yeah.
which is cool. But, there's just a lot of young guys. A lot of young guys who can ball, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But a lot of young guys, regardless. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of good to look forward to with this team coming up for sure. But it's going to be different, man. It's going to be different.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, I was just talking. So you know, we got a bunch of people over upstairs, and we were just talking about the season. Like, BYU season's over now. Like, we know everything about the season. They're like, where do you rank it all time? That was my brother-in-law was asking me, where do you rank?
That's a good question.
I think a pretty good answer for this. I don't know if you follow. I know you did follow BYU younger. You told me like you grew up watching the Navy. And
and even
colors.
being here, man, like
you learn.
I learned about all of them.
Yeah, what do you
Not
think?
all of them,
But you heard, your coach played on one of the most dominant
Yeah.
teams, right? And then like there's a bunch of other people on the program who are on another one of the more dominant teams. So I don't know. Like, what do you think? Where does it fit? Where does this team fit?
The thing is that I even hear from other dudes who were part of those teams, part of those great teams. You know what I'm saying? Like, back in who made history in BYU. And they've even said like this is probably the best team I've ever been a part of.
Dude, here's why you can make that argument. We've never done it at a P4 level. The only other year we had was last year.
Yeah.
And I know we had 4 games at the end of the year where in 2 of those games that I feel like we should have won, Oklahoma State, we very easily should have won those games. But other than that sample size, this is it. So it's hard to take an 84 or a 96 or a 2001 or a 2020, like 2021, or some of those good teams and stack them up and say, hey, we played a P4 schedule and won 11 games.
Yeah.
And we're a few plays out for the playoffs. Like, it's tough, dude. It's hard to do that.
It is. And when you just look at it pound for pound, just like across the whole board, like the players, the team, the coaches that you have.
Coaches too, man.
All around, you know what I'm saying? Like, this has to be top 5. At least top 3, honestly. In my opinion.
So I said top. We started the conversation upstairs.
Yeah.
It's a good conversation. I said, without thinking about it, top 5.
Without a doubt.
I don't have to think about it. I
Not
tell
even
you it's top
close,
5. Then we start talking about it. Top 3. It's really hard to place 2 teams ahead of this team.
Yep.
And both those, like, you can make arguments. You can move those top 3 around a little bit. Like, it's hard to beat 84 because they won the whole dang thing.
Right.
Right.
They would. Regardless of how what you do, you can't beat that.
And they had some Big Ten wins, and honestly, the WAC wasn't bad back then either. Wyoming was good. There was good, though there wasn't as much like different levels almost in college football, right? Like, so there were some good teams in the WAC too, but they didn't play the strength of schedule you guys just played.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think truthfully that like since that maybe this is bias. Maybe it's just me personally. But other than that national team, that national championship team, this is the best team I think BYU's ever had. Just personally. You know what I'm saying? I mean, a lot of people watch it probably like, dude, you're tripping.
They're like, dude, you don't know about
You don't know
96.
anything,
You don't know anything
man.
about
You
96.
don't know nothing. But man, like okay. You fast forward like 20 years from now.
Yeah.
All right. And then you take a look back at the season we just had and the teams we just played and teams we just beat. Even our losses, you look at them, you're like, dang, you lost like by that much.
A freak punt, like a freak squib kick that became
the
onside,
only reason why you lost that was this. And then, okay, Arizona State game, it's unfortunate. That's a loss. You got to just take, what I'm saying? Kansas, the Pooch Bunch, dude. That's crazy. But hey, you know what I'm saying? You still lost. We still lost that game, right? Regardless, though, of all that, of those two things, right? Like, if you look at the season, the record we had, the teams that we played, right? I don't know if BYU's really ever had like a season like that.
It's really tough. It's really tough to point one out.
But then again, that's coming from someone who hasn't watched every single game.
Well,
I'll tell BYU's history.
I did not watch 84, but I watched every game of 96. I watched every game of 2001. I watched every game of, you guess you could say 08, 09 were good years. 06 had a good team, but I watched all those games. I watched every game of 2020. I watched every game of 2021. Those are two good teams. I watched every game this year. I did not watch the 84 team. I didn't watch every game back then. But other than that, I watched them all. Dude, it's really tough to point.
Yeah. And you look
96 is an interesting conversation. But
right.
Even that, I went to that WAC championship game as a kid with my dad. First away game I ever went to for a BYU game. To change my whole outlook on sports. It was such a good game. And anyway, but I was there, man. I lived all that magic in 96 too. And I'm telling you, it's tough.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah. And like, you just look at the players that we had in each position, like I don't see a lot of good teams have some, weaker points on their teams. That's just, truth, but on this team, I can't think of one.
Dude, I'll tell you what.
We're number 3 in the nation on special teams too. Number 3 in the nation on special teams. We're top 10 defense in the nation.
Yeah, and everything. Number 1 in passive.
Except for sacks. But hey, man, look, it's a part of the scheme, man. You gotta play your role, man.
Yeah,
hey.
yeah.
But other than that, in literally everything else, turnovers number 1, right? Pass efficiency number 1, and whatever. There's other stats that we're top 10 in, but
in today's football, those are probably the two most important.
Absolutely,
because it's not like the olden days of. I should say olden days. I played in a
freaking
I formation.
The
traditional statistics and great football. They didn't pass as much as we do now. Now, that's really where games are won and lost for them, unless you're Air Force or Navy, which respect to those guys.
Yeah, but it's just different. But yeah, absolutely, right? So I don't know, man. And that's but that's the thing is though, is that like you try to compare, teams of this generation to a team from way back when. It's just different. It's different football. Like literally what you just said is different football. It's different, atmospheres is different, different coaching.
Dude, you play defense. I watched most of the 84 games after the fact. At least all the highlights you can find, but some of the whole games. Without knowing anything about football, say you're playing defense, you're going to run cover 1 or cover 3, mostly cover 3 the whole game, and I'm going to send 5 guys on routes. What do you think's going to happen? You're going to have 6 to 7 dudes in the box in a cover 3, and I'm going to send 4 or 5 dudes on routes. What do you think's going to happen?
You're going to let it fly, man.
You're going to let it fly. And 84, dude, 84 was awesome. Yeah. Awesome year. But I'm telling you, defenses didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
coaches never seen that. People have never seen that.
You got 2 backs and they're both running swings.
Yeah, they're like, oh my gosh. right?
And you got a post, you got a post dig concept on this side with the swing, and like defenses didn't know. Like, whoa, why aren't you in 7-man pass pro? Like, why aren't you like? Yeah, dude, it was a crazy time.
Exactly.
And that,
But it's different.
It's different.
You know what I'm saying? Now everybody, it's so hard to like find new things because everybody's just so like, well, shoot, you've seen it all within the confinements of the game, right?
Unless
the rules.
they change rules, that's what I was gonna say.
Unless they change rules, shoot, it's already figured out.
Dude,
you know what I'm saying? And whether you like it or you don't like it, you use it and you don't.
Dude, how many variations of Smash are there? Smash is a very basic concept, but how many variations of Smash are there?
In so many different formations, you can run out so many different motions, and dude, it's crazy, man. There's so many different things. Even on the defensive side of it, man, you can do so many different things, so many different disguises, and so many different packages. You know what I'm saying? You can have a nickel doing the same thing, shoot, as a D end. In some formations, literally like on our defense, right? Like
I'm coaching up the O line.
insane,
I'm coaching
man.
up the O line one day, and I'm teaching my tackles. Hey, if your D end crashes inside, there has to be someone else come on the edge
because it has to have contained.
Okay, there's some guys who played in like big boy football, like D1 football, who are coaching defense with me. They're like, well, not every time. And I said, hold on, pardon me.
Oh,
But you have, like, unless it's a blown thing, like
Kinda
you
have to.
someone has to have C.
Or else they're gonna roll out and
Then
get
it's over.
yards.
And they're like, oh my gosh, I never thought about that. You're right. I'm like, this as an O lineman, I know there's only so many ways you can carve up these gaps.
Yeah.
And one of the things you have to have.
But they have to be accounted
There
for. It
has
has
to
to be accounted
contained.
for.
Contained has to. You
Yes.
can have backers plug different gaps in between the
Sure.
tackles. Sure. Like that can. But
But you don't have a contain. You don't have an edge.
You have to have contained.
It's over.
And they were like, mine is blown. But like honestly, like it gets. And to be fair, they play in secondary their whole life. They don't worry
Sure.
about the box, like how
Yeah.
it works in the box. But like yeah, you can draw up as many arrows and twists and what you want, but someone's got to have contain. And someone's got to account for every gap.
Right.
Like it doesn't matter what you do. So yeah, like you said, like unless they change some rules,
there's not much else you can do, And so that's why I'm like thinking, that's why I feel like my perspective on the matter is valid.
Yeah.
Because of, just the way that the game has changed. And honestly, not just changed, but more like evolved.
Yeah.
In my opinion. And a lot of people probably like, but it's true. And, hey, this might even be a touchy subject as well. But that's why I also kind of lean towards LeBron James.
ooh,
Y'all
Kev
might not
is
like
gonna
that.
have a way more educated opinion.
Y'all might not like that one.
Bro, I grew up in the Jordan era, so I'll give you my
that's
piece on it.
fair.
But Kev is gonna have a way hotter take than I will on this. A better take on this.
It's evolved. Basketball has evolved. Everything has evolved. Every sport has evolved. You know what I'm saying? So like, I don't know. What do you think, Kev?
I'd take LeBron first. Like if it was a draft,
Prime time Jordan, prime time LeBron. You get to pick your guys in the lineup. You go LeBron first.
I mean, I'm probably taking a center over.
That's fair.
Freaking smart kid over here.
I'm probably
That is a
I'm
smart
probably
guy.
taking Shaq or Kareem
Yeah.
one, but
Prime
then
time.
like LeBron and MJ are both in the top 5.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like modern, like, and that's for basketball over all iterations. But like now, it's probably LeBron.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that too. It's just I don't think that Michael could do the things that LeBron did, personally.
Okay,
But-
I'm going to step in and defend MJ here.
Hold on. However, though, before you do that,
Okay.
I don't think LeBron can do what Michael
dude.
did.
So that's another thing I was going to
That's
say.
the thing. You know what I'm saying? However, though, based off of the evolution of the game and where it's at right now, it didn't get worse. Basketball didn't get worse. It's evolved. And for LeBron to do what he's doing right now, that's why.
Yeah.
That's where I feel like it's valid.
And look, I'm going to defer to Kevin here because Kevin knows as much about hoops as I know about football, or maybe more about hoops than I know about football. Like, all due respect to Kevin. So I'll defer. But it felt like, from my perspective of watching, because I grew up in the 90s, right? Like, and I was a Jazz fan. So unfortunately, I watched Primetime Jordan do Primetime Jordan things a lot in the regular season and in the playoffs. But I feel like the game has gone from being physical to more of a finesse game. Is that a fair take or not really, Kevin?
I think it's kind of unfair because
Okay.
I just don't think you have as many plotting like white guys out there. Not not to be racial, but like Steve Kerr.
I mean,
Steve
it's
Kerr's not on a
facts,
basketball
right.
court. Steve Kerr's not on a basketball court anymore, right?
Yeah.
And like a lot of like the big like white centers that were throwing their weight around.
Yeah.
But they weren't like I think the game's gotten more athletic, so it's gotten
And
less
skilled.
physical.
And skilled.
Yes. So
Yeah.
I think the physicality is down because
That's how you
Because
made an
That's how you,
impact
that's
on
what
a
you have
game
to
back
depend
then.
on.
That's
you
what
had
you
to
made
be
an impact.
physical.
Okay.
because you had
Yeah,
guys
absolutely.
like Van Horn
Yeah.
on the Jazz. Like you had these guys that were big and slow, and so they'd throw their weight around, and so it looked more physical. Now it's a lot more like,
They're just right past you.
but like you see, like taking a screen, like coming off a screen in the NBA, those guys are getting just
Pounded
murdered. It's
Yeah.
just not like the physicality in the at the basket is less
Yeah, oh, for sure.
Yeah.
because
for
guys
sure.
are more athletic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it just is. I think it looks worse when you have these like big white guys taking guys out of the air,
Mm-hmm.
whereas now it's both guys are jumping, and it looks less physical. But I think
But they're jumping higher and they're getting to the hoop faster.
yeah,
And they're dishing that pass off faster and quicker.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's just like Isaiah is saying, the game has just evolved.
Yeah. And you got shooters.
Dude, here's why I was like, I'm not arguing with any of that. I think that's all correct. So I'm gonna say that first. I think that's all
I
correct.
feel like in this conversation you kind of got to, like, hold on.
Hold
I hear
on.
where you're
Okay,
coming
guys,
from.
but I'm just telling you.
But this
if
is my
you grew-
side of
If
it.
you grew up watching Jordan, here's the thing about Jordan: physicality, skill, finesse, talent. Like you talk about that. He just found ways to come up with the play. Like Tom Brady is not a very athletic person.
He's not athletic at all.
Not, I mean, that's me. That's an old lineman sitting here like calling out Tom Brady's athleticism. It's kind of funny.
I mean,
But Tom Brady didn't win games because of his athleticism. He won games because of his IQ and determination and just grit to just grind it out and put in more hours and put in more time and things. And I mean, you could say about Kobe, who was very, very skilled, and Kobe just found
he
ways
just
to
had
win.
less talent than MJ.
Yeah.
That was really the
yes,
difference.
absolutely.
But MJ, I'm just telling you, man, like as a Jazz fan, you just knew, freak, he's going to come up with the play.
Hey,
Yeah.
He's
I-
going to find a way to win every freaking time.
Every time.
100%. If I need a bucket, the ball's in MJ's hands.
Yeah, it's fourth quarter, last possession
Yeah,
of the
But
game.
just, I mean,
You need a dude to go
LeBron's entire body of work and like
is crazy.
and
Absolutely.
the way that he can just drag a bunch of no names to an NBA Finals like he did multiple times. Like, and MJ never did that. MJ always had.
Pippen and
That's what I'm
Pippen.
saying.
and even Rodman to be his enforcer.
Well,
and,
yeah, but
Like-
at the same time too, though, is like I think the only reason why LeBron separates himself from those guys, why he separates himself from Kobe, why he separates himself from Michael Jordan, is the leadership aspect of it. Kind of like what you just touched on. You know what I'm saying? Like you're right. Like Michael did have Pippen and Rodman, some other guys, right? And I'm not gonna sit here and say LeBron didn't have no help either, because he for sure did. I mean, he had Kyrie.
Kyrie kind of clutched one up
In
for
my
him.
in my
Yeah.
opinion, Kyrie's probably one of the best point guards.
Dude.
Well, he's the best point guard that I've ever seen play.
Dude,
You know what I'm saying?
Kyrie, literally, that championship in Cleveland, I really felt like that was Kyrie's as much as LeBron's.
Yeah.
Because in those big moments in the fourth, it was Kyrie who came up with the
Yeah.
plays.
Absolutely. But I mean, to that point though, still, like LeBron put down his back.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. They're all great athletes. They're all great basketball players. They're all very disciplined, determined, urgent. They have the urgency, all the fundamentals
Yeah,
and
yeah,
values
yeah.
that you need to be the GOAT. But that's the only thing that I just see a difference, because you like Kobe. Everybody's just like, man, like he wanted to make everybody better. You know what I'm saying, on the field, on the court. Sorry, not the field. But however, is that the way that he goes about it, from just like from what I've heard, from what I've observed,
you're
from
not
the
wrong.
things I've read and
You are not
watched,
wrong.
you know, it didn't do it the most ideal way.
Tell you what, if
If that makes
Kobe
sense.
is more of a leader to Shaq, while Shaq is with the Lakers, that is probably the most dominant run in NBA history. If those two could get
Mhm.
along and get together, and there was a leader there to make it all work, like a LeBron
Mhm.
or like, you know, an MJ maybe, or somebody like that, like if it was just that trait, because that Kobe Shaq combo was gnarly.
Oh, that's probably one of the nastiest combos in history.
So you're right.
You know? So, but he also, Kobe also had Shaq.
He also had Shaq.
You see what
Yeah.
I'm saying? LeBron didn't have no Shaq.
Actually,
And,
he did
Shaq-
have Shaq for a little bit, but
Okay,
it's
he
not
did.
the
had-
same
Yeah,
Shaq.
you're right.
It was
He
not
did.
the same
Not
Shaq.
the same. It's not the same at all. Let's just get that. You know, y'all know what we're talking about. He's not the same.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But Shaq is like the. I think Shaq is the second best to ever live.
Dude.
I think you play his career out like you just like you have a bunch of simulations and you simulate his career 100 times. How his career ended up is probably in the bottom 10%.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Like 4 feels like he came up at least a ring short, maybe 2.
Yeah.
Like just there's nothing you could do.
Yeah. The most dominant individual, basketball wise.
It's absolutely
Ever.
crazy. Dude, where do you put old Larry Bird in this? Are you a Larry Bird connoisseur? This is no one talks about Bird. I know he's old
At
school,
least they
but
don't talk about him anymore.
his ability to shoot, dude, and come up with big shots, it was pretty high. I get it. He's not like the top 4 probably. Does he come in at 5? Does he come in at 10, 15?
Yeah.
I
I'd
think
say
15.
He was averaging like 39 and like he was putting up LeBron numbers at 30, like 39 and
You
7.
don't put
at
him
age
over
30.
Curry.
I like
In my mind,
Steph is like
Curry-
top 7 for me.
Curry's number 5 ever for me. He's number 5. He's just unfortunately his size,
It makes it hard for some reason. I don't know
You
why.
know
He
what I'm saying?
dominates, take over a game.
right?
Yeah.
But you know, just the impact that he served. He's still I think the best shooter to ever live. But
yeah.
you know, just greatness wise and just achievement wise, everything like that. He's not number 1. He's not number 2. He's not number 3, and he's not number 4. He's 5. I'll give him 5. But yeah. Here,
Yeah.
you know what? Before we continue, we keep talking about these points. I'm gonna just put it out there right now. These are my top 5. All right.
Okay, let's hear it.
Wait,
on the
top
basketball
5 or just like starting 5?
top 5.
Top 5. Okay.
Top 5 ever.
Okay.
No starting 5. I'm not making a team
Okay.
because that's gonna change it for me.
Mm.
But top 5 ever. Number 1 is LeBron. That's my number 1. Number 2, I have Shaq. Number 3, I have MJ.
Okay. I was getting nervous there.
He's like, oh my gosh, dude, you're tripping. Number 4, I have Kobe. And then number 5, I have Curry. That's my 5.
That's pretty solid top 5.
And that is you know what, maybe that is biased because that's just the time that I've been alive. That's the only time I've been able to see basketball. And like, you know, I've watched previous games, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But just for my own experience, maybe it's a little biased, and that's okay. But that's my top 5.
That's
and
fine.
I think that's extremely valid. You know, I don't know.
Kevin, you want to go your top 5? I'm way more curious than Kevin's because
I
he's
want
like
to know Kevin's too.
because he's the hooper in this room. I'm telling you right now. Kevin's the guy with the hoops knowledge in here.
Let's see. LeBron and MJ. You could 1 or 2 either way. Kareem over Shaq. Just
Kareem's crazy.
6 rings, played
That's fair.
20 something years. Just take him over Shaq.
Who has the most in a game? 80 something to Kareem?
No, Wilt has 100.
Oh, Wilt. That was Wilt.
And then
You're right.
Kobe
Thank
has
you.
81.
Kobe has 80.
81 in the game is absurd.
Yeah.
That is insane.
Yeah. And then
I've scored 48 in the game.
Ooh.
But I never gotten even close. To
My
that.
career high is 21. That's junior jazz, baby.
There you go.
That's
Yeah.
punking a bunch of drama kids, you know.
That's funny.
In the paint, junior jazz, baby.
Oh,
Then we'll go Tim Duncan.
Ooh, yeah.
Yep. I love Tim. Actually,
Wow.
I hate Tim.
you put Tim
Yeah.
Duncan
I
in the
hate
top
Tim.
5?
Yeah.
Tim's good, dude.
best power
I'm not
forward of
saying
all
he's
time.
not. But you put him in your top 5?
Yeah.
You put him over.
Kobe. Over Kobe. That's Tim takes it over Kobe.
Wow.
In my opinion.
Okay.
And then
I'm not going to sit here and.
Did you put him at 5? Or where are we at 4?
I'm at 4.
You're at 4. Okay.
And then it comes down to 5 guys. Curry's in the conversation, Bird's in the conversation,
Magic.
Magic's in the conversation. Then probably Bird, honestly. Like peak Bird.
Peak Bird is crazy, dude.
Peak Bird was a different dude.
Yeah.
Like,
And his ability to just talk crap and then go back it up. Like, he'll like, dude, there's like all these people you could see, like, dude, the interview that like played Bird, and he'd be like, right elbow, fade away jumper on defense. Then he'd go down, get the ball, the right elbow, hit that guy who's guarding him, fade away jumper. He'd tell him what he was going to do, and then he'd go do it and make it.
That's badass.
Like, can you imagine being in someone's head so much like, I'm going to do this, and he'd do it for like 7-8 possessions in a row and get like 7-8 buckets in a row. Tell the dude,
Dang.
I'm going to do this, and then go and do it.
That's just demoralizing, I bet. At that point, you're just, oh, man. Time out,
Yeah.
please. Yeah, that's
Dude,
crazy.
It's funny. My dad played back in the high school football back in the day, and this is before anyone knew what concussions did to your brain. So we'll just like reference that.
Fair enough.
He had a guy next to him get completely knocked unconscious. Came to in the huddle, but like didn't know what was going on, and he lined up. And this is like a pretty important play at the game. And this is back when this is Payson High School, but back when they were dominant. So you go back to the 70s when they were
the last time they were dominant.
the last time they were dominant in the 70s. And they're lined up playing a pretty important game, and it's a pretty important, like a 3rd and short or something. And he turns, they line up, and he turns to my dad. He's like, "What's the play?" This is on the playing O-line. And he said, "We're running the ball right here. You're blocking that guy that way." And he says, "Okay." And the whole defense like looks like
what?
are they serious? And like that's what the play is. They go pick it up. But like imagine doing that for a quarter or a half of a game. Like I'm gonna do this and you can't stop it.
That is wild.
That's wild.
I mean, I feel like guys try to do that still.
Yeah,
Like, you know.
dude. Speaking of talking in games, we'll go back to. I hate to leave the NBA discussion for a moment.
We'll come back to it because we still got to hear your top 5.
I'll give you my
But
top
anyways.
5. But on this part,
You got to hear about Glasker's dance
oh,
or celebration.
dude, that felt like there was a little bit of chatter in that game.
There was.
Because there's some big personalities and some big talent
Yeah.
on both sides. Tell us about
Yeah.
it, man.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it all started like even before the game. Like when we would kind of run into each other. Actually, it started at SeaWorld.
Of all places.
Like of all places, it started at SeaWorld. And the reason why, man, is because, well, some reasons are valid, but we were there when we showed up first, and then they showed up, right? And as we're walking, you know, trying to get on rides and stuff like that or whatever, they're walking past and stuff like that. And, you know, they'll, like, we're cool, you know what I'm saying? Like, at least a lot of the guys, most of the guys on my team, we're all kind of like, oh, you know, like, oh, that's the Buffaloes, you know what I'm saying? Like, not thinking too much of it. You know, I'm not sitting here talking crazy. I'm not trying to puff up my chest. I don't need to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
None of us need to do that. Like, it's whatever, right? But they clearly didn't feel the same way. You know what I'm saying? Like, they kind of walked around, like, when they looked at us, you know, like, gave us kind of like look at these guys. You know what I'm saying? Started talk trash, like, you know, saying, like, one guy apparently said to, like, one of the guys, I think Keelan or something like that, saying, like, oh, y'all drip is weak. like, because everybody went and we're in the same fit, right? Because we had to, and just started kind of talking crap like that, right? And you know Keelan, he's not just gonna take it and leave. He's just, he's gonna have to say something back, right?
Keelan.
So, he was like, he said, I don't know what he said because I wasn't around. I just overheard. Well, he was telling me about it, and I just don't remember what he said. But anyway, so he had a little scuffle with some of them, and then Harry, bro,
I love Harry too.
Harry, what did he do? He went up to Warren Sapp, went up to Sapp. And he said something. He didn't even say anything back. He was just like, "Hey man, like, you're Warren Sapp." And you know how Harry is. You know what I'm saying?
He's happy,
a happy
outgoing.
guy,
Yeah.
up, like energetic. You know what I'm saying? And Warren was just like, I think he said something like, "Get the hell out of my face, like kid," or whatever like that. Like, I don't mess with you or something like that. He said something, right? And then everybody Harry was kind of like, "Whoa!" And then like people like the team started like closing in, kind of, and then everybody started chatting a little bit, and then our guy just kind of was like, "Whatever, this isn't worth it." Everybody's kind of left, right? But so that's what all started. It's SeaWorld, right? So we're like, "Oh, okay, so these guys really don't like us," you know what I'm saying? For some reason, and then it went on to I think what was it? What was the next one?
The Riverwalk?
Yes, thank you. It's a Riverwalk. Because they had like the boats. We had our guys on the boats first, right? And first of all, this is what happened. It wasn't even just a team, dude. It was the fans too. Because on the Riverwalk, we started off, right? We had the pep rally. And so we're up on the stage and everything. Me, Keelan, Darius, Tyler, and Jake, and Kalani. We're all on the stage, and Kalani just like, he started talking, and then all the Colorado fans started booing the whole time Kalani was talking. I'm like, man, y'all ain't gonna let him talk, man. And then Kalani started saying like, you know how Kalani is. He's super humble and he's gonna give, props and respect to the other team, regardless, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're booing him the whole time, like loud, like you can barely hear what this guy is saying, truthfully. And then he's like, hey man, I want to give props to like Colorado. Their fans traveled well, you know what I'm saying? You can tell they support and love their team. They got a good coach. Whoop-de-whoop, just kept going on, right? And then you just hear them all kind of just, it just went dead silent.
Dude, that's kind of
like
Jedi,
idiots, bro.
kind of like Jedi mind trick fighting.
Yeah, absolutely. But it was genuine. You know what I'm saying?
It's hard
real.
to hate. It's hard to hate on someone who's giving you genuine love,
right? And it's like, man. And so it was kind of cool to see them all just kind of like, oh.
You beat hate with love.
You know what I'm saying?
Baby.
That it was just quiet, you know what I'm saying? And but as we finished off, some of the guys on the boats started talking crap to the fans, you know what I'm saying? Because the fans still were talking crap, throwing up the middle finger, stuff like that. And so they started talking crap, and then Colorado's team started floating in on their boats, and then so we're kind of like, they're kind of close now, and then we had the young guys on the furthest back boat with like Trey and all those guys. Trey was on this boat, right?
What?
And so so he started talking. Well, I think they said something to him, but then he just took it and ran. You know how he is. He just like Keelan, he ain't just gonna take it and keep pushing. He gonna stand his ground, right? So he started talking too. And then it kind of like provoked the rest of them to start talking, and then some of our guys started talking even more. And then the fans kind of got into it a little bit. But it was all cool, man. It wasn't nothing crazy,
nothing
It
crazy,
wasn't nothing that was serious. It wasn't, nothing that was, it was just good old trash talk, you know what I'm saying? And so that happened. And then the next day, I think it was the lunch thing that we had, right? They come to our hotel where it's at. We had this huge banquet kind of deal, right? We're all sitting there having lunch, and the guys are up there doing their thing, whatever. And so after it, though, we're all by our elevators gonna go to our room, but the Colorado team is walking through the hallway that's between the elevators, right? So we're all standing right here, and they're all going like this, right? And then Keelan is at the front of it. And he's just like waiting for something. There a whole bunch of them. There's just a group of our guys just waiting for somebody to say something, right? And then it got a little tight. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody was just like, something might happen. So everybody's kind of getting tighter and tighter and tighter to the hallway. And then one of the guys walked past Keelan, and they're like close. Like I'm talking like this close, like almost about to bump into each other. And he's like, and one of the guys on Colorado team apparently said like, man, if someone was to bump into me, we'd have some problems. And then Keenan was like, what? And then like he started saying like some other stuff. I don't need to repeat it on this, but
It's a family podcast.
yeah, we don't need to repeat it. But anyways, they got into a little scuffle too, you know what I'm saying? And some other guys started talking again. So, it was like since from the jump, everybody's kind of talking trash, right? And then we finally get to the game. And nothing pregame, nobody's really talking to each other pregame from what I know, right?
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as the game started, oh man, everybody's talking crazy, on the field. And, typically like, we talk crap, but like, we don't really talk that much crap.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But no, this time, man, like these guys wanted to make it personal, man. So we was just there to finish it. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, we weren't even really doing the talking the most. You know what I'm saying? We were still, if someone wanted to get in our face, we were there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because I remember this one point, Maury was just clamping up Travis or whatever. Yeah, Travis. And like the kids started to get frustrated, and then Maury's kind of like, okay, he's feeling good, so he's like, yeah, I'm feeling good. And so I think Maury, he got up, he was like complaining about like, why didn't you throw a flag? And Maury was like, he said something kind of slick, just like, yeah, how you like them out or something like that, you know what I'm saying? Something like honestly not bad at all. And then like you just see him, Travis like turn around, get in Maury's face, like, what'd you say to me? All this stuff, whatever. And Maury just like, man, like he just loved it, you know what I'm saying? He actually posted on his Instagram a picture of it. And it's just cool because Maury's just under this guy's skin.
Yeah.
Right. And then we're hitting the crap out of these dudes, man. I'm talking hitting the crap out of them. Like I remember this 1.2 at the start of the game, like first drive or something like that. Oh yeah, it was when I got a little pressure on their quarterback Sanders, and then he scrambled up, but he got like sandwich tackled, and like he got hit. You know what I'm saying? I think it was like Jack and Glasgow who hit him or something like that, and then like we all kind of like stood over him, like, yeah, man, it's coming all day, man. You better be ready for this. You know what I'm saying? Like he didn't say nothing after that, man. He's just like, oh, you can just tell he just got up. Yeah, he knew for sure. He knew. He just got up and he's just like, oh my goodness. And then after that, every time somebody got hit, man, yeah, we made them know for sure. You know what I'm saying? And Glasgow on his interception on their sideline, it was right in front of Coach Prime too. It was so funny because he was talking about it. He's like, man, I'm gonna do it. Excuse me. The day before, he's like, I'm gonna do the celebration when I get a pick. I was like, hey, you better, you know what I'm saying? You better, you know what I'm saying?
And then Prime happened to be right there.
Right there, man. And you see Glasgow look to his left, see him. He's like, yep. And as soon as I see him, dude, because I'm right there, I'm watching this happen. I see him get the pick. I'm like, okay. And I see Coach Prime, and I see him look at him, make eye contact, and he hit it. I was like, oh, that's so tough. And he didn't even have to say nothing. He didn't have to talk no crap, nothing like that, nothing. He kept, classy, but it was still cool to see that. You know what I'm saying? It's just the subtle, drama of the game, which was cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, especially, I mean, it's tough too. At a certain point, you're just whooping you're kind of whooping their butt at a certain point.
Yeah.
They don't want none. They don't even want to be there, so they're not even saying nothing.
They're
back.
not gonna talk back.
You know what I'm
just
saying?
Gonna make it worse for them.
Like even I remember like in the third quarter at one point, like, I'm just wrestling this offensive tackle, bro, and I throw him to the ground, and I said something, and I just remember him look up at me, just like, just get up and just turn around and walk to his huddle, and I'm like, dang, man. You don't even want to say nothing no more. It's like that bad now. What happened? Y'all were, you know what I'm saying? But man, that's just good old competition, man. A little trash talk.
Yeah.
And I remember the last part, Travis like dropped the ball or something like that, and it was like me, Jack, and I think even T Wall was up in there. And it was and me. We're all like kind of like surrounding him.
I know this play because you were dropped off.
Yeah.
I know.
Know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly the play you're talking about.
he gets in Glasker's face and like he's just sitting there trying to talk, saying like some bullshit, honestly, and Glasker's just like pointing, like looking over him because first of all he's taller than him, right?
Yeah.
Looking over him and pointing at the scoreboard, man. And I was like, oh man, that's tough. None of us were saying that. We were
You
just
didn't have to.
We're just there in his face, man. Like, what's
There's
up?
there's
You know what I'm
nothing
saying?
you can do about it.
Nothing you can do. You can just sit here and talk all you
Dude,
want.
I've been on both
don't
sides
matter.
of those games. You
Hell
probably
yeah,
have too.
I have too.
And when you're on the
Absolutely.
other side, dude,
It's tough.
It's
man.
tough,
It
yeah.
is tough. But nah, man, it was cool. It was good competition, man. There was some trash talk though, for sure, the whole week.
you feel like I feel this way, but I wonder if you think your most complete game of the season. It's hard because defense and special teams played phenomenal. O struggled at
Yeah.
times. Like no, I'm not trying to disrespect the O. We already gave him props. He ran for 180, but we had some turnovers. Even Gary had a turnover. Like everybody kind of took their turn, having some issues with it. Tase dropped a touchdown. So I want to say like that, but it felt like to me it was like the most statement win of the year. Like look, like put respect on us.
I think that honestly, it was for sure. I think it was just even with Kansas State, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I feel like they're. I personally liked this one better than Kansas State because, it wasn't just Kansas State fans and people in the Big 12 who were like, okay, Kansas State's going to blow these guys out.
The whole country.
It was the whole country.
It's honestly
was
the best.
everybody.
This is the best
You know what I'm saying?
ranked matchup that we've had so far in a bowl game. Right?
Yeah.
So if you're like pumped about bowl season and watching the bowl games, like
Mhm.
outside of the playoffs, this is it. Like this has been the best one.
And truthfully, like this is what people say should have been like the conference championship.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that in itself is even more hype too,
Yeah.
And so, yeah, man, it was great. But yeah, I'd say this is for sure up there with one of our most complete games.
Kansas State game was so dang fun just because of how explosive the middle eight was.
Man,
Like I don't know if I've been to many games like that.
I've never.
I don't think I have.
I've never been a part of a game like that.
That just
Ever.
complete domination in the middle eight.
Mm-hmm.
Like big play after big play, touchdown after touchdown. Like what is going on
And the atmosphere of it all too.
at home?
At home, under the lights. That was crazy.
That was
That's
awesome.
something that I'll always remember
Yeah.
for sure. That's that jersey right there,
Right
man.
there, baby.
Yes, sir. That's so crazy. But yeah, hold on. Before we continue though,
Yeah.
we need to hear the top five,
Okay,
Jake.
top five.
We
All
need to
right.
hear the top five, man.
I go in MJ.
At
okay,
number one?
Number one.
That's fair.
MJ.
That's fair.
I'll go LeBron 2. I'm not 100% on LeBron 2,
Okay.
but I'll go LeBron 2. I respect that he can play 1 through 5. Defend 1 through 5 at least for sure. Probably could play 1 through 5 really on O2, like honestly. And I've seen it. I've seen times when he was even younger in the league where he had to play the 5, and I was like, I heard it's been a while now. How long has he been in the league? 20 years or something?
More
like,
than that,
yeah.
21.
03 draft.
Oh yeah. So, but I remember back when he was young and someone was hurt and he had to play the 5, and I was like, oh dude, he's gonna struggle at the 5, and he did not struggle at the 5. So I'll go ahead and put him at 2. 3, I'm probably gonna go Shaq. 4. Oh man, I like Kareem. I like Bird. I like Magic. I like Steph. I don't know. I'll probably go Magic. Bird, and then 5. I'm gonna go Magic. I know it's a lot of old guys on it, but like I don't know, man. It's,
So I have a question for you.
yeah,
So where does Kevin Durant sit?
dude, I like.
Kevin's over here shaking
He
his
shake
head.
his head. I like KD more than most people.
I do too.
It'd be hard for me to keep him out.
All right, let's hear it. What's up?
Okay, tell us why. Tell us why you don't think he's a top 10 or a top 15.
It's
He's in my
and-
top 10.
and I've
I
watched
like
him.
him. That's a personal bias.
I watched his last. I can't even remember. He's been on the Suns for.
I was gonna say, let's just clarify that you are a Suns fan.
I am a
right?
Suns fan,
That
so
is
I've been
true.
watching him for the last 160 games of his career, however many it's been that he's been on the Suns. Turnovers, man, and just like the mental lapses. Like LeBron doesn't play defense anymore,
Mm-hmm.
but like the mental lapses, the like everywhere he goes, I don't know if he makes guys better.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
Like
I feel that.
he can put the ball in the basket. Like I won't deny that, and it's insane to watch some nights.
Yeah.
But like I don't ever feel like he's making guys around him better. Like
Because where has this journey gone? OKC, Golden State, Brooklyn,
Brooklyn
Suns.
Suns.
Yes.
OKC had a lot of talent around him. We may not have realized it at the time,
Oh.
but Westbrook,
Yeah.
because Westbrook really did have to take a back seat to him, and at least in the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, because there was a lot of times where people were saying Westbrook should get more touches and more looks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and then who was the other big three there?
Harden was there, but
Yeah, that's
then
right, dude.
they
Oh
traded
my
him.
Gosh, dude.
I know.
Imagine those three on a team and not getting a ring.
Yeah. It was early. Harden was just barely starting to find himself.
Yeah.
But like if that team was together for 2 more years, it would have been
Yeah.
crazy.
Absolutely.
But yeah.
You think it's a leadership thing? Like we were
Uh,
talking about Kobe, Shaq not be able to stick together or is it just contracts?
I don't think. I would say leadership kind of sets you apart. Like that's the difference between Tim and Kobe.
Yeah.
In my mind, is like Tim, you could consistently count on him to be in the conference finals for like 15 years, which is ridiculous.
Who was the Spaniard with him too?
Manu and Tony.
Ginobili.
Yeah. And as a Suns fan, I hate Tim Duncan more
And
than anything.
he had Kawhi
Yeah.
towards
At the end.
At the end, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's still
But-
Kawhi Leonard.
But yeah, Katie, it's just there's something missing. Like
Yeah.
from getting to that like top 15.
Dude, I'm
for me.
super biased just because I'm kind of an offensive junkie.
He's
anyway.
awesome.
I just like to watch him score.
Yeah.
Like he can do it from anywhere.
Especially in basketball, man. That's just yeah. I agree.
I went to Arizona and over the break and I watched 2 games and he had 8 turnovers and 7 turnovers
oh
in the
geez.
games that I went to. And the turnovers aren't just like bad turnovers. It's like oh no, I threw a bad pass and it's an alley-oop dunk on the other end.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, it got deflected out of bounds. And then it's just, I just don't think anyone likes playing with him. I think he's super hard to play with and be I don't think it's fun to play with him.
Hmm.
I think it's fun to play with some of the other guys.
that we've talked about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then here's the question. Follow-up question. Best team of all time. Can't pick the dream team, obviously, from the Olympics, but best team of all time.
See, and I'm going to completely contradict myself, but it's the 16 Warriors.
Yeah.
17 Warriors. with
When
KD,
and Steph and Clay and
Draymond.
yeah.
Yeah.
That might be because they broke the Jazz's regular season win record in 17. The
Yes.
Jazz had held for a long time most wins of is it 82 in the regular season or whatever it is. They broke that.
Yeah, that for sure, in my opinion, was the
That
best
might
team.
maybe that's not a conversation. Maybe that's just
It's-
it. End of
it's-
story.
It's not. in my
96 is close. 86 Celtics is close. 85 Lakers is close. 'Cause
Yeah.
you have 4 Hall of Famers on the court. That's been done like 3 times in NBA
opinion. It's pretty
history.
crazy.
Like the Lakers in the 80s, the Celtics in the 80s.
That's what the Warriors is too, though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
what it's
you
gonna
know,
be,
that's what I'm
right?
saying.
Like, that's
It's
what's
about to be. You have four Hall of
Katie,
Famers.
Curry, Clay, Draymond.
Draymond.
Draymond, I believe,
Hall
is
of
going to be a Hall
Famer.
of Famer for sure.
Yeah.
He's a
4
different way
rings.
of going about it,
Yeah,
but it's
Yeah.
hard to deny it.
that's true.
Because even in that 6-17 season, there was a game where everybody kind of played bad, and Draymond put up like 20 or something by his own,
Yeah.
and you're like, all
Mhm.
right, you're not just an
Yeah.
enforcer,
Yep.
rebounder, enforcer
Yeah.
guy. Like he can hoop when he needs to hoop.
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah, for sure.
I think it's 16. Or, I mean, 17, sorry.
Yeah, I agree.
The first KD season.
yeah, that was a crazy run. Okay,
Speaking
end of
of-
story.
Speaking of crazy run, not to change the subject, but
Nah.
it's it's crazy, man, because this whole week has just gone by so fast.
Yeah.
You know, and like at times I try to think about, all right, man, like this is your last game, like college football game ever, and um, you try to be as present as you can, so you kind of like put that thought to the side, you know what I'm saying? But yesterday I flew into Phoenix and I had an 8-hour drive. I only drove the last 4 hours, so I didn't drive the whole thing. But regardless though, that during that drive I got like time to think about it. You know what I'm saying? Like stuff like that. Man, it's been a crazy ride. These past 6 years, man, I got to learn a lot about, football, myself, and it's crazy because truthfully out of high school, man, well, I mean, shoot, I'm 16 years old, 17 years old, and I don't understand, the whole deal yet. I'm about to find out, but I don't know it yet, right? And I always kind of looked at college kind of be like, as most people do, I assume, but kind of look at college to be like more just like truthfully a stepping stone
Mm-hmm.
to, my main goal,
Mm-hmm.
playing professionally, right? And you don't really, I didn't really understand or could fathom the type of impact and development that this phase of my life was gonna provide for me. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy, dude. Even over the past year,
Yeah.
the past 2 years, it's insane. I to go from one school to another, and honestly, be in college football for 6 years, let alone, is a lot. It's crazy, and so I got to learn a lot, man. I got to learn, about how to be a great teammate, what that means. Learned how to be, to put my own pride and my own, wants and needs aside for the greater good of, the team. And, I learned a whole bunch of other stuff too, but I think one of the biggest things I learned on the football aspect of it, truthfully, was, it's 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 bigger than just you, and you have to love that. You should want to love that if you want to, I guess, be successful
Mm-hmm.
and honestly be great. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, growing up, I loved football. You know what I'm saying? In college, honestly, there was times where I didn't love football. There was a few times where I thought it was it for me with football. You know what I'm saying? But to go through all that just to acquire this understanding that, it's not so much about you, it's more about, the bigger picture of it all, right? And it's a team sport. It's not just golf, it's not no MMA, no diss on any of that because that's still its own thing, right? But yeah, you have to understand that, and you have to honestly appreciate, and you have to appreciate even if you don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's a game of sacrifice in my opinion.
It is.
You know what I'm saying? Football is a game of sacrifice, and you have to love it. You have to. You know what I'm saying?
As a guy who played O-line, how much glory, how often are they going to like circle a dude on the O-line and be like, look at this pancake, look at this double team, like, look at this pin?
Rarely ever.
Never.
Right?
But I loved it.
And that's the thing, man. It's like I've said every single episode so far.
Yeah.
You sacrifice your body,
Glorify
glorify the soul. You know what I'm saying? And that's just not even just physically, that's even mentally.
Mm-hmm.
Sacrifice mentally. You know what I'm saying? You glorify the soul. And so I feel as though, truthfully, this last game was a testament to that. You know what I'm saying? Like, of course, I believe that my game, my personal game, if it was in a perfect world for me, I'd probably be, at outside linebacker position. I'd be rushing the passer mostly, you know what I'm saying? I'd still do, drop in coverage and all that stuff, but typically be on the edge.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I've always done. You know what I'm saying? That's what I want to do in the future. You know what I'm saying? But in this scheme, truthfully, that wasn't the case. That's not the case. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I'll be out there in a 5 tech in the C gap, but within our defense, that's not the case. A lot of times I'm playing in the 4-eye. And people who don't know what that is, I'm playing where the defense tackles are. You know what I'm saying? Or the nose guards are sometimes. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's honestly out of that element. In fact, completely.
And so for people that also don't
Sometimes.
understand, once you go inside with the guards, you're lining up on a guard somewhere, or even inside the tackles, your athleticism is limited now because the space is confined. It's smaller. I can be less athletic than you. You're closer to me.
Mm-hmm.
There's not as much looping and speed you can use off the edge. You kind of come into my world a little bit where I'm going to get hands on you. I'm going to use my weight. I'm going to use all those things to my advantage. And your athleticism gets kind of toned down a little bit. But I thought you did really well with
I
that.
appreciate
And it's
that, man.
that's a testament to your versatility at the next level.
Right.
Because there's some crazy sheesh they can draw up at the next level where you come inside too. And that they could be able to look at the tape and be like, oh, well, Bagnah can do this all day.
Absolutely. You know, and that's, you know, the perspective that I took from it. Right. But, you know, when it does come back to the fact of the matter is that's still just, you know, out of my element. And truthfully, when I first got to it, it was uncomfortable, of course.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And like, I never really had to, I've changed positions before, but I've never changed positions where it was like truthfully like that much of a challenge, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? To the point where I really had to change, you know, my body, the way that I play the game, the way that I attack every play, you know what I'm saying, each rep. And, you know, it was honestly at first it was a struggle for me. It was a struggle for me. And sometimes even throughout this season, man, it was a struggle for me too, to just be like, you know what? Hey, this is a part of the game plan. You know, you have faith. You say you have faith in your coaches. You say you have faith in your game plan. Then be about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You in order to do that, you got to put that mindset and that honestly selfish aspect of input to the side and do your job and do it at a high level, so that other guys can make these plays.
Right.
So that you can get the defense off the field, so the offense go out there and make plays. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I mean, where it's like, you know what, it's not always about you. You know what I'm saying? It's about the bigger picture. And who says it's always going to be like that? It's not going to always be like that. In fact, this next level, you can put me inside every once in a while, and especially now that I have the experience and now that I know how to play that. Hey, you know, I'm gonna play at a high level. I'm gonna do it at a high level. But regardless, though, that's not gonna be my main thing, if that makes sense.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'll still be versatile, but it's just gonna be different. So that's in the future. You know what I'm saying? For me to be present, though, you know, you have to put that aside.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You have to put that aside. And yeah, man, that was a big challenge for me, truthfully. I never wanted to sit here and talk about it truthfully, especially during the season, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, you want to keep the right mentality, you know what I'm saying, and be present, like I said. But now I can talk about it since the season's over.
Right.
And I'm truthfully never going to play in this defense again.
Right.
Unfortunately, but because it's a good defense. It's a great defense. You know, Coach Hill does, you know, have a great defensive mind. But, yeah, man, it's crazy. And you've seen how it is, you know what I'm saying? Like, up in there, you know, it's, oof. Man, it's tough, too, because, you know, it does take a little bit of a toll on, you know, well, look at our defense, man. Why are we one of the worst teams in sacks this year? You see what I'm saying? Like, there's
the scheme,
a reason for that.
Yeah.
It's not because we can't rush a passer.
Right.
Because we got probably some of the best pass rushers in the nation, in my opinion.
Well, go look at the first opening drive of this last game. Right? That's a ranked team right there. And correct me if I'm wrong, but if I'm remembering clearly, that entire opening drive, they let you and Batty work the edges.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like we collapsed that pocket pretty well. Like he looked uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. There were several times where he had to step up and get out of the pocket that he did not want to get out of.
Yeah.
And it changed his throws. It forced him to get rid of the ball. It made him get hit a few times where he probably didn't want to get hit. And so, I don't know, like, Jay Hill had his reasons for doing what he did.
Right. And, I mean, shoot, it still worked.
It worked, right?
Yeah. Like, you can't sit here and be like, oh, man, you know, I want more sacks, you know, I want more production for myself, stuff like that. But then you're over here winning games. You're the number one pass efficiency defense in the nation. You know, you're getting all these interceptions. Your best friends are making crazy plays.
You know,
like, all those linebackers are some of my bestest friends.
Yeah.
And they're making these plays, man. And I'm not saying they're because of me. I'm not saying that, but truthfully, the role in most of these concepts are for me to take their gaps.
I'll go ahead and give.
You see what I'm saying?
For sure, so they can
They're
play
still
that
dogs.
coverage. They can play that coverage.
Absolutely, they are some
dude. Absolutely,
incredible
all of our
athletes,
linebackers are great.
But regardless, the fact of the matter is, the defense is made for them to make plays.
Set up for them to excel.
It's literally made for them to make plays.
And
right?
We'll talk about picks, but also the tackles.
Yep.
Because as a guy, again, I know I've only referenced this about 8,000 times in this podcast, but as a guy with O-line experience, I'm telling you, if the D-line doesn't let me get to the second level, it's not going to go well for the offense. It doesn't matter. So if you are controlling that line of scrimmage, eating up blockers, and keeping your ground, dude, they can just sit back there, survey the field, read, and then go get work done.
Absolutely.
Right? Like all the dirty work is handled for them. They don't have to fight off a block. There's no blockers coming to them.
And it makes the linebackers, their reads aren't as hard. You know what I'm saying?
It makes the whole
thing run pass key. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes RPO, you don't have to be like so fast on to reacting to the running block. The running.
You could play slower, and that makes the quarterback on an RPO have to play slower.
Exactly. It's honestly a genius. Is genius
for this. We're talking about evolutions of football.
Yeah.
Okay. Last time I called the offense, we ran a ton of RPO, and there was a lot of people who did not know what to do with it. Like, well, hey, whatever you choose, you're going to be wrong. So go ahead, pick your choice.
Yep.
Like we're either going to run it with numbers or we're going to pass it to an open zone. You pick.
Yep.
And but Jay Hill, here he goes. His iteration is we're going to eat up. We're going to eat up all the blocks. So my linebackers are clean.
Yep.
And they can slow play it. You can slow play it.
And it works, man.
It works.
And you know what? Like I'm honestly so glad because it's by learning this defense. Obviously, you know, sometimes my role wasn't very ideal, but understanding the concept of it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Understanding the concept, learning, you know, having the opportunity to play in it and seeing how it works, seeing what it's supposed to look like. Man, I'm going to take that and use it for the rest of my life.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? For the rest of my career in football, you know, it's going to have a substantial role in the way that I see defenses and how I combat offensive play and offensive concepts.
Dude,
you know what I'm saying?
This is totally like an unexpected, like you were talking about, how you've grown, how you've learned, how you were like 17 years old, and where you are now. Like an unexpected consequence or side effect of this whole journey you had on is the knowledge you got. And guess what? You can always do it anytime. Go coach ball. Whether it's high school ball, whatever ball, like you have all this experience and knowledge now that you can go share. Like the same thing with me.
Share
like
with others.
Anytime if I ever wanted to, needed to, whatever, I could anytime go coach football again. And I have decade plus experience of coaching it and all the time playing it, right? But coaching it specifically. Like, that's just like another arrow in your quiver of skills and abilities you have. And you probably weren't expecting to come out of college with all that. Like you said, it's supposed to be a stepping stone.
That's what I'm saying.
To go play ball.
And just on the football aspect of it, I'm not even touching on everything else. You know what I'm saying? The football aspect of it is only just like a small piece of it all.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, essentially, you know what I'm saying? You hit it right on the head. It's crazy to think about. And I think that, like, it's just gonna, I'm always just gonna, you know, appreciate that and utilize it for, you know, the greater good. And, you know, that's a perspective, that's my personal perspective of it all, you know. And like I said, man, whether, you know, obviously, you know, stats wise, production wise, I wish it was better. You know what I'm saying? I wish that I, you know, could have been able to produce more in my position wise, you know what I'm saying? But like I said, man, one thing that I truly believe, and I've had to stress this to myself, to honestly be in a place where I can be present and play my role, is that right now is, like I said earlier, right now it's not really about me, if that makes sense. And I don't think it's ever really gonna be, right? But just in this moment, this scheme, you know what I'm saying, this defense, it's not about me. You know what I'm saying? You can still be successful. And I mean, shoot, I am. I went 11-2 this year. You know what I'm saying? I played a huge role in that. You know what I'm saying? Whether it shows on the score sheet or not, right? Like, there's still things to be proud of from that. And but that's not going to be forever.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? That's not forever. So I'm gonna sit here and enjoy it and appreciate the good from it. You know what I'm saying? Um, Truthfully, just having that perspective, even being able to be a part of that. I've been a part of teams where I didn't go 11-2.
Yeah.
I've been a part of teams where I didn't even make it to the end of the season because it was just, I just couldn't. You're right. Like, so regardless, man, at the end of the day, there was the ups and downs throughout my whole college career, man. It's been a crazy ride. And, it's crazy how God works, man, because, I always had a plan in my head. I'm always like, all right, man. Even back in high school, like I said, we're bringing back to high school, Like, I was like, all right, I'm going to go play Division I football, man, and I'm going to go play at BYU, and then I'm going to go play professional after that. And, it ends up I don't go to BYU. I still play Division I football.
Right.
But I don't go to BYU. I go to Boise State. And I'm there for 3.5 years, 4 years. But I still ended up at BYU.
Yeah.
I still played Division I football.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like, it's just crazy how, God's plans works and how, it like kind of fits within what I have planned.
Well, also what you needed.
It's exactly what I needed. And that's the thing too, is like looking back, man, like I would never change. I wouldn't change anything, I wouldn't change a dang thing.
Yeah.
Because I just know truthfully, like it's set me up to be honestly in the best possible scenario for me going on in my future. You know what I'm saying?
That's
I truly believe
that's what's
that.
cool about God's plan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is like you surrender your will to Him and you kind of go with it, and you just kind of, you said, like, be present and try and do the best you can.
Do the best you can. Put forth as much effort as you can. Keep
in
faith,
that
though.
present moment. Then you get their side and you're like, oh, actually, what I wanted wasn't really what I needed. And I got what I needed, and now I can go do what I wanted to do originally. And I've seen you grow up a ton in the past, like, year specifically, but even 18 months or so.
Yeah.
That, like, we first started, like, kind of interacting. Dude, like, I won't say you're a completely different person, because you're not. You're still
Right.
You're still
I still have the
banging.
same heart, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
you're still saying,
but regardless,
dude,
different, man.
You've grown up a
completely.
lot. Like, you've learned a lot. You've matured a lot. I don't know, dude. You're more. I feel like you're more resilient. You're more. What word I want to say is like grounded. Like, you just, I don't know, man. I've seen it in you, and it's like we're grown men, so it's really corny to have
man.
that
It's all
conversation. Like,
good,
oh,
you know?
you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
like, so I don't say it too much, but
No, but I appreciate that, man.
it's true.
Absolutely. And I kind of see it within myself too, just that change. And and it comes down to, a lot of things, right? But honestly, mostly it's just like being able to develop my perspectives and also acquire a true relationship with God and Jesus Christ. That's the only reason why, I've been able to, I feel, grow in the way that I have so far. And I know it's just the beginning, you know what I'm saying? As my relationship with him grows, with them grows, you know what I'm saying, with God and Jesus Christ, I know that's just going to keep growing with it. You know what I'm saying? I'm just glad that I get to be a part of something so wonderful and so awesome. And I keep getting to be a part of those things, you know what I'm saying, on the field and off the field. You know what I'm saying? Like, my friendships that I've been able to create, you know what I'm saying, the bonds I've been able to create, those things will truly last a lifetime. And it's crazy because my freshman year, I remember, like, at Boise State, we sat there in the room, and I think it was the last day of fall camp. And, man, I'm sitting there, I'm like, man, this is terrible. Fall camp was insane, At that point, you're just so mentally and physically beat, you know what I'm saying? And honestly, I was like, man, this is tough. And then, they had all the seniors go up to the front and was saying, they all had a little bit of advice. Brian had everybody give, the team a little bit of advice from what they've learned over their college career. And I remember, guys will go up there and say, man, it goes by so fast, you don't even realize it, or like some of the relationships that you have will last a lifetime. And like, you know, excuse me, you're going to leave here a completely different person and all these different things. I'm sitting here, I'm like, man, like that's cool and all, but like, that's not, I don't really know if that's the case.
Right. Maybe for you.
Yeah, right? It's the case.
Mm-hmm.
It is 110% the case. You know what I'm saying? And it's more than that. Especially for me, like especially over these 6 years, most people just get 4 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some people get 5, but to have 6 years, of that the developmental aspect of my life, man, it's crazy. And honestly, I feel like that's exactly what I needed. Especially coming from a different country, not being in this type of culture, not being in this environment where a lot of people have been their whole lives. And it's just different, right? Especially on the football aspect of it, right? Just the competition of it, the knowledge of everything, and honestly, just the skill and talent, right? I wasn't able to truly experience that to that extent that most people have. So those extra 2 years, I feel, honestly, is what I needed.
Was necessary.
Was very necessary in my story, in my path.
Yeah.
Because everybody's path or journey is different.
Yeah.
Everybody has their own journey. Everybody has their own path. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has their own plan that God's had for them. You know what I'm saying? So, looking back at it all, man, I'm just, some things obviously aren't ideal, right? Some things don't go the way that I truly wanted them to. However, though, it's if you're focused on first just the small things, you know what I'm saying? Like not the small things, but the immediate things, the things
Right.
that don't matter truthfully in the long run, and you dwell on those things, you're gonna find yourself lost. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if you take a step back and look at the big picture, man, it all was for a great reason, and you came out the other end a lot better than what you could ever imagine.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I always saw this as a stepping stone. I thought I was only gonna be in college for like 3 years.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I was like, man, I'm gonna go in there, play college, and then go pro. You know what I'm saying? And like in that moment, at my 3-year mark, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm not leaving. I might be screwed. You know what I'm saying? But that's just me focusing on
That moment.
that small moment.
Yeah.
But if I was to fast forward and see where I'm at now and see the big picture of it all, see how far I've been able to come on the field, but most importantly, off the field,
Right.
man, I wouldn't have even tripped. I wouldn't have even tripped about it. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I'm tying it back into the football part of it, into this season too. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, yeah, I'm in a 4-eye. I'm taking on these double teams. You know what I'm saying? I'm out of my element. But there's a reason for it. There's a bigger reason for it. There's a bigger picture to it all. You know what I'm saying? You have to understand that. And that's something that I've been able to, it took me a long time to understand that.
Yeah.
It took me 6 years to understand that.
Yeah.
But now that I have that perspective, man, like it's changed everything for me. And I'm grateful for it.
And maybe, 17-year-old Zay
Mm-hmm.
doesn't probably, we'll say physically you're able to go into a 4-eye because obviously you have physically completely changed from being 17.
Right.
Like anybody would, especially one on a D1 developmental program
Right.
would. But say physically at 17, you could. But would the person off the field, 17-year-old Bagnah, off the field, how would he accept that responsibility of, hey, you're going to go 4-eye and you're not going to get to do your thing on the edge? Like what would that be like for you, right? Like talk about how much you've grown. Like what would that have been like when you were 17?
Man, at 17, like I would be like, nah, I'm good.
Right?
Nah, I'm not going to do that. I'll do something else, or like there's something else out there for me. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't have accepted it. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't have truthfully been able to. You know?
Right.
Because like, I haven't been able to learn or experience the things that I have. You know what I'm saying? And that's a challenge that, because it's change. Remember when we were talking about how, a few weeks back, like people don't like change.
Yeah.
People don't like, their comfort zone, but you have to grow. You have to grow. You know what I'm saying? But as a 17-year-old, you know, you don't really understand that.
Yeah.
And truthfully, you can be quite stubborn.
Yeah,
You
kind of like
know?
you already talked about. Your path is linear.
Yes.
It's like, hey, I'm not doing that because I'm going here.
I'm
doing
going
this.
here and I'm doing it this
That's right.
way.
Yep.
That's what I'm saying.
Yep.
But, you know, all these, with change, it looks more like this.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you get little cracks. Like in the glass, you know what I'm saying? Like how they have this one thing, they put like a pin or something like that on the glass and they hit it and it goes a straight line, right? And then they like take another, like a different piece of metal or something like that, hit it, then it has like a different crack that way. And then they hit it again, but it takes it right back to the same point, right? And it's not a straight line.
Right.
And it's all these different lines. And then it's actually, I'm talking about, because I seen a video of this artist who did this, like, who does this glass shattering art.
Yeah.
Right? And he starts it off with just one straight line. And then he does all these different lines with it, but it all comes back to the same point.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And you take a step back and you zoom out on the camera and it's just beautiful mural of, you know, whatever. He does a bunch of them, right?
Bunch of different things, yeah.
But it's like this huge piece of art.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? From all these different little...
And a straight line is not that beautiful.
It's not. You look at it and it's like, oh, it's just a straight line.
That's cool, I guess.
Then you get all these different, you know, curves, all these different shapes and turns and sharp turns, edges, and, you know, it makes this beautiful picture.
Yeah.
You know? So it's... in that moment, you don't understand that it's supposed to be this beautiful piece of art when all you want is just a straight line.
Yeah.
But man, what's the beauty in that?
Right.
What's the beauty in one straight line?
It's funny when you're probably
You know
like,
what I'm saying?
like 8, 9 years old, maybe younger than that, maybe 7, 6. You learn about the plan of salvation.
Mhm.
And kind of it's like a straight line. Like you start drawing these circles and all these things. You're like, okay, I'm going to go here. I'm going to get a body. I'm going to make these covenants. And then I'm going to get resurrected. And like this. That's a cool idea. Okay, that's cool. And maybe I don't know. I think we knew more of the big picture before we came here, right? We lost it all at birth. But when we signed up, I feel like we had a pretty big picture of like what was going to happen.
Absolutely.
But we get here, it's kind of like linear. Like I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to be done here.
Right.
And I think Heavenly Father just is like,
dude,
I'm going to take you on a cool trip.
No idea.
I'm going to take you on a really cool journey. Mm-hmm. And you're going to, just like you're talking about, you're going to go here, you can go here, you can go here, go here. But you're going to learn a ton of stuff.
Yep.
And all the change is going to make you a better person.
Absolutely.
Give you perspective. I talked with a buddy of mine, former BYU safety, who's had a lot of different turns, man. He's had some different turns in his life. And he's in a really good spot right now. We were talking about, like, you know, his journey and stuff. And he's like, I have so much more understanding of God and the atonement of Jesus Christ and just all these things because of, like, the past little bit. And I feel like I needed, not necessarily I wanted or even Heavenly Father wanted me to do all these things, but I needed to gain that experience and do all these things to learn it. It's like, dang.
Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy.
Nah, it's wild. That's one thing I was thinking about too the other day, is just the way that God has impacted me and influenced me on my journey, you know, and how Jesus has been there with me every single step of the way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's just like, you don't think of it in the moment, but truthfully, like, he has been, and it's all just a part of the plan, you know, but you don't see that.
No.
You don't know that, right? But just that knowledge, and that's one thing that I think is the biggest takeaway for, you know, the past few years, is that, like, honestly, it's just growing that relationship.
Yeah.
On that spiritual level.
Yeah.
You know, because I feel like that's the last thing that I needed, truthfully, to go into this next phase of my life. Because I'm excited, man. I'm ready. I know it's going to be scary. I know it's going to be a lot of different things. I don't know where I'm going to be in the next 5 months.
You don't even know where you're going to live the next 5
I don't.
months.
You know what I'm saying? I have no idea. You know, it could even be a different country. It could be Canada again.
It could be.
You know what I'm saying? Who knows? However, though, is that I feel as though, you know, I've been able to acquire all these different things, these different lessons, these different values and fundamentals that I've been able to, you know, because I've been trying to build my foundation intentionally build my foundation over the past 3 years, you know, and it's been extremely difficult.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I've had to go through a lot of things
Yeah.
to, acquire these different pieces and values. However, though, it's this foundation, and I feel, and it's so cool that coming to BYU, I was able to finally get this centerpiece like sustained in it, because I had I truly believe that I had everything else. You know what I'm saying? I understood what it means to, whatever. I'm not gonna get too deep into it. You know what I'm saying? However, though, there was something that was missing. There was something that was missing, And coming to BYU, man, it really allowed me to fill this hole in this foundation, because it was a good foundation. But what's that? That story of the person that built their house on a rock and the person that built their house on the sand. And on the sand it washed away, right? But on the rock it stood firm, right? And that's kind of how, because my mom used to tell me about that all the time growing up. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta build your house on a rock, man. You gotta have a good foundation. And like, I never really truly not believed in that, but like understood it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense for myself and how I can make it personally, you know what I'm saying, in that aspect, until, I really started intentionally trying to do it for myself. Because there was a point where, I wasn't at the point where I am at right now, if that makes sense. Just decision. I mean, I was like 18, 19, 20 years old, you know what I'm saying? 21. Nobody's perfect, right?
Right.
But like at a point, man, truthfully, and I don't mind sharing this on the podcast, like there's a point where I didn't know what I stood for. You know what I'm saying? There was a point where I didn't even. Yeah, I feel like everybody has a point where they're trying to find themselves. You know what I'm saying? The identity crisis, honestly. It's like, man, what do I believe in? What type of person do I even want to be? You know what I'm saying? Because I can't keep doing this.
Right.
Because I can't be going on this route that I'm trying to be. Because the type of man that I'm trying to be, type of athlete, football player I'm trying to be, a type of, son, disciple of Christ. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't. That just doesn't fit. That doesn't fit my actions. That doesn't fit my habits.
Right.
That doesn't fit the foundation that I'm trying to build my house upon.
Right.
And at that point, it was just sand, right? But over the past few years, man, I've been able to, forge this foundation, build this rock, And I know I keep beating a dead horse, but being here at BYU really sustained that for me, man. And going on through leaving this place, man, like jumping on my nest, like a little bird. Truthfully, how I see it, I feel like, this is the best possible foundation that I could have to build upon.
Right.
This coming forward into life personally. Mm-hmm. So I'm really excited for that, man. I'm truly grateful for everything I've gone through, everything I've learned. I could sit here and go through so many different things for hours, right? As I'm sure anybody could. But just me personally, man, I'm excited. I'm excited for the football aspect of it. I have the utmost faith in, not only God's plan for me, but myself and my ability. And yeah, man, if I just focus on the bigger picture and keep putting forth as much effort as I can, man, everything will be all right.
The right thing will happen for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I just got to keep doing truthfully what's right. I got to do it with effort.
Yeah.
So
no, I 100% believe that.
I'm looking forward to it, man. It's intimidating. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, it is.
Yeah.
It is for sure. But
that's how I felt. Hey. Kevin, maybe you felt the same way. Come home for my mission. Like, I knew I wanted to go to school. I knew I probably wanted to teach. I probably wanted to coach. I started doing both those things actually right away. But like, there's a coming home. It's like, on a mission, bro. You know what time you're waking up. You know what time you're going to bed. You know how long
schedule.
You're going to read the scriptures for this long by yourself. You're going to read the scriptures for this long with your companion. You're going to wash all your clothes on Monday. You're going to do, I'm telling you,
Yeah.
but it's also cool because the things you don't know, you also have faith that like, hey, I'm one of Christ's missionaries,
Mhm.
and he sent me to this area. He picked where I'm going to live.
Yeah.
He picked who I'm going to work with. He picked everything for me. I have complete trust and faith in that. I don't have to pick where to live.
Mhm.
I don't have to pick what to do every day other than like, okay, Heavenly Father, where do you want me to go knock or
Yeah.
whatever?
Sure.
But like, I had a lot of confidence as a missionary of like, I'm in the right place, doing the right thing at the right time
Here because you're supposed to be there.
because I'm supposed to be there. Then I
Mhm.
come home, it's like, now I got to choose everything for myself, like
Mhm.
where, like what to do, who to date, do all these
Yeah.
things, and it's just that all the unknowns,
All the unknown and all the change.
coming at once.
Mm-hmm.
It can be daunting.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's so crazy, man. Because I feel as though I kind of had that same feeling when I left Boise State.
Mm-hmm.
When I got in that portal, because I was sitting there for 2 months, not playing football, just honestly, just with this thought in my head, like, man, like, I don't know where I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't even know if I'm gonna keep playing football. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, like it got to a point where like I was in a dark place for those 2 months, man. Like bad.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's just me being truthful. Opening up. Like it was a tough spot, and at that time, man, I didn't have a strong relationship. With my Heavenly Father at the time, or even Christ, and I was living a completely different life.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I'm not playing football either. You know what I'm saying? I'm in Boise, Idaho in the middle of winter, right? So just all around, dude, it's just like kind of all bad for me. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
You can only play so much Madden in a day,
right?
And
You can only
feel like you're
you
fulfilled.
can only get on the game so much,
Much.
man, right? And so, anyways, that unknown, dude, it was just like, man, all I knew is I just couldn't do this anymore, right?
Right.
However, it was so bad to a point where I had nowhere to turn, and like I was just rock bottom, and I remember, dude, like I had to say a prayer, man. Like it was one of the most powerful prayers I ever had, and I remember I was just by myself in my bedroom, and I was like, man, Heavenly Father, like, whatever happens here on out, because at this point I'm like, I don't even know if I'm gonna keep playing football.
Right.
But whatever happens here on out, I give this to you. My career, I give it to you. If it's meant for me to keep playing, great. You know what I'm saying? If it's not meant for me, then hey, there's something else out there for me. But whatever it is, because I can't keep stressing over this anymore.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I can't keep falling down in this little dark hole that I keep digging myself. You know what I'm saying? I can't keep doing it. And so, yeah, man, like it was the craziest thing, because the very next day, you know what happened? It's crazy, man. The very next day, I get a phone call. And you know who it's from?
K-pop.
Kelly Papinga. And man, it's crazy. He was like, hey, man, like, long time no see, how you doing? And I'm like, I'm all right, man, just sitting in this portal waiting to see what's happening, stuff like that. And he's like, well, man, we got a spot out here at BYU, and we just I mean, I love it here, man. I just got here like a few days ago, and want to see if you want to come on a visit and see what you think, and see how you fit with the team. I'm like, whoa. First of all, BYU. I'm like, man, I never, you know what I'm saying? Like, ever since they told me no,
Yeah.
I was like, nah, I don't like BYU.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't want to go there. However, though, some inside me, man, like, told me, like, well, I at least got to give him a shot. I at least got to go and see what it's like. I mean, shoot, I have nothing to lose at this point, right? And especially in that mindset, that the mentality that I had, that mindset that I was in. And so, man, I come out on the visit. Man, that day, I made my decision.
You knew.
I knew this was a spot I needed to come to.
And you feel like it was an answer to your prayer.
Absolutely.
100%.
110%. It is crazy, man, because I came back and, this, obviously, now that I know where I'm going to go and that new excitement in my life, it was like that. It was just like a beam of light shining through the darkness for me at that moment, and it was like, man, it kind of gave me a little bit of hope, right? And, and it's crazy, man, because I got here and it was hard. Don't get me wrong. This whole time has been hard. It hasn't been easy at all.
For
However,
sure.
it's been the best thing that's ever happened to me.
Right.
And I share this because, man, like, I sit here and I'm telling you, like, I'm kind of nervous about this next phase of my life, right? And don't get me wrong, like I said, I have this foundation, but a part of this foundation is because of that experience that I've had.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And from here on out, everything, not just football, everything that I do, my relationships, financially, career-wise, spiritually, and even I know for my kids, the only way I will know how to go about it is by giving it to God and having faith, man, and put forth the most effort.
That is the most true thing you've ever said, man.
You know what I'm saying?
There's no instruction manual.
There's
no like, and every kid. I'll tell you, I have 4 kids. Every single one of them is different, and they need you. Like, they need your dad. They need their dad a different way. Does that make sense? Like,
absolutely. Absolutely.
And so, and Heavenly Father does that on purpose because He wants you to grow with Him. He wants your relationship to grow with Him.
Yeah.
And so it's by design, man. I believe that. And you think you grew a lot as a Boise State player, as a BYU player? Is that that's all awesome? You want to really grow as a person? Like, you grow when you get a pet. When you get your dog Rosie, and you gotta you grow.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, we'll give you a human child.
Yes.
Here's responsibility. You have to teach this. Your mission is to get this person to grow up and be a productive member of society who has a testimony and understands who they are, why they're here. Like, good luck.
Teach them to be better than you.
Teach them to be better than you. That's a great point too.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Crazy.
And along with this theme, something I was thinking of when you were pointing this all out, it's so true. You want to know who some of the people who struggle the most in society? People who've never had to overcome anything.
Yeah.
You're just giving stuff, and you never had to overcome something. Like, have you ever heard of the term affluenza? Like, influenza is like the flu. Affluent is to have a lot of money. Affluenza is like you're sick because you come from a lot of money. And it's like you can look it up. It's a growing concern among the wealthy's kids.
I believe it.
Because they grow up and someone makes their bed for them, or someone does this, or they ask for money to go to the movies and they get it, and they ask for this and they get it, and maybe even they inherit a bunch of money when they leave the house. But eventually, like, you want to grow as a person, you got to hit a few rock bottoms. You got to go into those deep, dark holes. You got to do all that. Like,
true. You do?
Or you struggle.
Big time. And yeah, it's crazy, man. That's something that I've just been able to learn so far through life up to this point. I know I have a lot more to learn. I'm not even close to, I don't know it all. But what I do know is, the stuff that we just talked about. And honestly, in this phase of my life right now, that's good enough for me.
Yeah.
It's good enough for me, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? As a 23-year-old trying to start my professional career, going on to this new phase of my life, which won't be forever either.
Right.
This isn't going to be forever either. Football's not forever. I know that. Everybody knows that.
Everybody knows.
Right? However, though, just going into this phase, man, what I have and what I've been able to acquire, the knowledge I've been able to acquire, the perspectives I've been able to acquire, you know what I'm saying? Everything that we talked about on this podcast, man, like, that's more than enough, I believe. And it's all been truthfully because of God.
Right.
And by putting me in this position. It's crazy, man. He truly saved me in more ways than I know.
Yeah.
Right? But in the time that I needed it more than I even thought that I needed it.
Yeah.
He saved me and he blessed me more than beyond measure.
Yeah.
The
big takeaway from all this, Kelly Papinga can answer prayers.
Sure can.
Whether it's a fake field goal attempt or you're Isaiah Bagnah and you're in the portal and you're praying to know what comes next.
Right?
Kelly Papinga is there to answer prayers, man.
Absolutely.
He's an instrument in the Lord's hands when we need him.
Yeah, man. Literally.
He's a great dude.
Yeah. It's crazy how it all works out, man.
Yep.
But, all good things come to an end, And, it is sad. It sucks, that this college, because college was sick, man. College was fun.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And obviously, the past few years, I've been kind of like, at the point where I'm kind of dissociated from the whole college aspect of college football. You know what I'm saying? However,
you graduated.
Yeah, I graduated. You know what I'm saying? It's different age groups, stuff like that. However, though, it's been a cool journey, man. Cool part of my story. I remember leaving high school. I was like, man, nothing's gonna beat this. Nothing's gonna be as good. You know what I'm saying? And man, was I wrong?
Yeah.
This was awesome, and I believe with God in my life, man, it's only gonna get better.
I was listening to it was a podcast or it was just something on YouTube. I can't remember where this was, but Carl Jung talks about life begins at 40, at the age of 40. He said everything up to that is just what you're talking about. It's like you're learning.
Prelude.
Yeah, you're learning and you think it's great. And he's like, but once you're 40, you've got 40 years of experience. And it's like, then you can really live your life.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Dang.
I never had that. I've never lived to 40, but
Right.
I've never had that perspective before.
Yeah.
So it's just, I don't know, man. I think you'll have this iteration. You'll repeat this cycle in your life as every time you go to a different phase, you're going to have the same perspective. Like, look how much I've grown.
Yeah.
And look how much better I am here now, which is awesome.
Look how far I came.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. Yeah. It's wild to just some kid, man, from Canada, to be where I'm at is truly insane, honestly, to think about, man. And I don't sit here and try to say that in like a narcissistic or cocky way, It's just the fact of the matter. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, like, I didn't even just come from like one place in Canada, let alone just a different country. It's not even just one spot. Like most people come from one spot, you know what I'm saying? They have their roots. That's not me. That's not my story.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? From when I was a little kid, man, like I moved from one side of the country to the other multiple times. You know what I'm saying? Different schools, different homes, different apartments, different places. You know what I'm saying? Who's to say that I was supposed to even be here? And I only say that, man, because that's one reason why I'm so grateful up to this point, too. You know what I'm saying? I'm grateful for a lot of things, but that's one thing because there's no reason why I would be able to do it on my own.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Right.
Like, it has to be because of God.
Right.
Because literally everything is the percentages, the probabilities of me getting to where I'm at right now and even me getting to where I will be in the future are very low. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, I heard someone talk about the moon this past week. This is another tangent, but this is the realist, so we do tangents.
Absolutely.
What are the odds that the moon is the right size and the right distance from the sun to totally eclipse it, to cover it up 100% on an eclipse? And they're like, well, look at the moons, the other moons we know about in the galaxy, the moons of Jupiter, the moons of Saturn, this.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any that line up? No. Like, this guy wasn't even making a case for God necessarily. He was just making a case for like, this is interesting. Like, this is really,
observation. Yeah.
This is observation, right? And so it's like 400, it takes 400 moons if you had 400 moons, you could cover up the sun from like left to right. Right? So it's 400 moons across.
Yeah.
But the distance between Earth and the sun is sun is 400 times farther from the moon to Earth. So the distance is it's 400 times further from Earth than the moon. Something to that. I'm going to get that ratio all wrong. Basically, distance from the moon to the Earth, the same distance from the moon to the sun is 400 times greater.
Okay, yeah. I
Sorry,
see what
that's a better way
I'm
of
catching your
explaining.
drift.
Now,
yeah, okay,
so
yeah.
because of
A little
that,
lost it for a second.
because of that distance and that everything,
Mhm.
it's exactly enough to completely eclipse the sun.
400
certain-
times. Wow.
Yeah, and then
That's wild.
so that's like a pretty wild.
That is a crazy probability.
And then we have
But it happens.
we have a dark side to our moon. So we have the same face of the moon facing us at all times. We never see the different side. How many moons in the solar system do that? I don't think there's another one that does it. So you talk about like God being in the details. Could you have got where you're at here? It's like God is in all the details, brother. Like
All of them.
all of them. Like
All of
this, everything here was all created for us to come and have this experience and learn and grow and become more like God.
Ooh.
Everything. Like this podcast is happening because it's part of God's plan.
It is.
Like he wanted you and I to come and talk here, and maybe some kid hears it, or maybe a teammate comes on and looks at life at a different way. And like all things are here to like glorify God and his purpose, which is to help us learn and grow and
Wow.
become like God. It's wild, man. Like
That is wild.
everything.
Wow. Hey, Kev, you heard that, man? This man just dropped some knowledge for us, man.
Yes,
Maybe.
sir.
I don't know.
And it's crazy because, like, we sit here and talk about cycles too. You know, everything comes in full circle, you know what I'm saying? And, like, there's patterns and everything. And, like, why do successful people say it's all in the little things? It's all about the little things, paying attention to little things. You know, first of all, it takes effort to pay attention to those little things.
Yeah.
And stay disciplined with the little things, right? But, you know, when you pay attention to the little things and the details of it all, that's when masterpieces are created,
Right.
right? That's the difference between, you know, Michelangelo and my
Kindergarten finger painting.
Yeah, kindergarten stick figures. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the difference because of the details, right?
Yeah.
And it's the effort. And it's crazy because, like, that's God paying attention to the details. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, this is blowing my mind. It's because, you know, a lot of people don't want to look to God and, like, think that, you know, you can't really learn something from him or something like that. He's just some, you know, being,
Some
right?
force of the universe that's
But,
just
like,
loves everybody.
Literally, he's the
and that's it.
secret to everything. He's a secret to all the success. He's a secret to. He's not even a secret. That's the crazy thing. It's in front of you.
Right.
It's everywhere.
He's sending out 40,000 missionaries at a time, 70,000.
Literally.
Please,
You know what I'm
listen,
saying?
I want to
He's
tell
even
you.
putting it out there in other religions so they
Oh,
can
yeah.
reach
Oh,
you.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like, it all just comes down to a choice, though. You know? But regardless, that's a whole different thing. But still, just talking about the cycle aspect of it,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's just the details. He pays so much attention to the little details, and look how wonderful, how successful these plans, these masterpieces are. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, the way that our world works, how we work, society works, you pay attention to the details, you become successful with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You create masterpieces. You know, it's crazy, these patterns. You know, it blows my mind when you really start to think about certain things.
Oh, my
like that.
gosh.
And
dude.
it's straightforward. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you realize it's like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. But, like, when you really sit there and think about it,
Dude.
man, there's a great mind behind it all.
Intelligent design, man. Yeah. We talked about that book about the DNA. Like, I'll tell you what, you want your mind absolutely blown about how special DNA is and DNA coding is. Like, everything you are, how you are, it's all in your DNA, right? Everything.
Yep.
You take a cell from anywhere in your body, from hair cell, eye cell, skin cell, muscle cell, that it has all the DNA is encoded in that one cell to create all of you.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, in your knee cell, like, pick a tendon in your knee. You look at the cell of it, they can build a whole other Isaiah off that one piece of DNA. It's all encoded. It's all packaged in there, and all that. And it's proteins, and it's just like you start looking at all that, and then it's like, oh, like we're doing so great with AI, and like we're doing so great with robots, and like dude, show me a robot that I can take a piece of that robot and encoded in every single piece of that robot is how to build the whole robot. And it's going to heal itself. It's going to grow itself. It's going to reproduce and train. It's going to learn and grow and experience. Like Heavenly Father is so far ahead of all this stuff we think we're so cool about and know so much about.
Exactly.
Like,
and he just looks at us and he's proud of us for it too. That's the craziest thing. You know what I'm saying? He's like, man, look how far y'all have came. It's not even close to where he's at. Not even close. Not even close. You know, and like, I feel like people are so, so, what's the word? Prideful in those ways. You know what I'm saying? Where they're like, oh man, I'm to the level of a God. You know what I'm saying? I'm so above everybody's society. I'm like, and it's like, no, not even close. You know, like
I listened to a guy talking about how if you are 45, I think it was, or younger, how you are more likely to live to 200 years than 100. Like, wait, what? What? And he says the medicine is advancing so much faster now, and the ability to do things, whether it's like grow an organ, like just take your DNA, like, oh, you need a new lungs, liver, heart, eyes. Let's just grow you one in a lab. He's like, we have made so many advancements there that if you're 45 or younger and we continue barring like nuclear holocaust or something crazy, right? Like you're more likely to live to 200 than you are to 100.
Wow.
And as it continues to grow and accelerate, it'll become more affordable because it's tech essentially. Right? All these things and all this stuff. And that is cool. And I think there is, and eventually they say the tech gets to where people just don't die. Unless it's by, you got hit by a bus. Or you're not dying from old age, or you're not dying from a disease, or you're not dying from things. You're dying because you have an accident or someone kills you.
Or someone,
right? Because almost everything else, you can kind of like fix it. And it's like, okay, that's crazy, but I think that's kind of what you're talking about. Like, I think some people take pride in that. Like, well, now I never have to die. Now I'm like a god.
And it's only gonna get crazier and
crazier.
Crazier and crazier.
Aspect. But I also wonder if Heavenly Father's got a plan where he's like, I'm not gonna let that work out for you, because the plan isn't for you to come here and live forever. Like I'll let you extend. Like He's let us extend life before, penicillin and all this stuff, extending life, and I don't think He has any problem with that. But I don't know. People in the Old Testament lived for hundreds of years, so maybe there's no problem with that either. But if it's not part of the plan, you're not gonna frustrate the plan of God with science or a lab experiment.
You can't. It's and that's the thing that I kind of think of too, man, is because like when you want to talk about the second coming, right? Like there's already things that are happening that is in the what's it called? The prophecy of the second coming.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Already. And we've sat here talking about that already.
Bro, that would be a sick podcast someday.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. We're gonna have it.
We'll have to do it. We'll have to do it.
But like still though, it's I don't think society will get to a point where, it will be, or it could even touch immortality, truthfully.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I don't. But
uploading your consciousness into a machine, uploading this.
And the thing is too, it's just that like, I don't know, dude. There's balance in everything, man. The more good you see in the world, like, these factors of, health being able to be, elongated, you know what I'm saying? People are having more opportunities, like even like social media. Like you look at TikTok, people who were probably working at gas stations or like, didn't have like the career that they've always wanted. Now they have a platform where they can have a taste of that, celebrity or that celebrity status or, that sort of fame. and then they can make a career out of it. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? It's changed people's lives. However, though, where there's good, there's always going to be some bad.
Absolutely.
And the more good there is, there's going to be more bad.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And so, yeah, the world will continue to improve and advance and, get good, but it's also going to get worse in the same way. You see, you feel what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
There's more evil going to be coming from that. And so, I don't know. It's crazy to think of, because I see it. I see it almost every day still. You know what I'm saying? Just the growth of it all, good and bad, man. But it can only get to a certain point. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To the point where it's literally, he has to come down and stop it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
that's what the second coming is.
Yeah.
And it's all part of his plan. It's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
It's crazy. We're going to keep talking about it.
Yeah,
in
we'll
another
have to,
episode,
because there's
man.
some crazy rabbit holes
Absolutely
off of that we could go down.
Yeah, for sure. But nah, man, I think this is a good point to end this podcast. But yeah, this was a wonderful season. I am so grateful that I got to spend it, with you guys. This was awesome. This has been an awesome podcast. It's not over yet.
No.
It's been awesome to this point. I, for one, appreciate, you guys, first of all, and also y'all, paying attention and, giving us the support, bro, because, this platform has done a lot for me. And, I'm sure it's done a lot for other people, too, who's taking the time to listen and pay attention, man. It's cool, and it's been entertaining. It's been awesome. So this won't be the last episode for sure, but this is the last episode of the 2024 BYU football season. So with that being said, man, this was a great season, and there's no better way that I would have rather wrapped it up. So that being said, I'm gonna catch y'all though next episode, and peace, man. I'm Isaiah Bagnah, your host of the Realist podcast, and yeah, I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.